Hi, this is Sung and I'm the Principal and Director of Sky Academy, and we're going through basic algebra for the 2-unit advanced course. Now, a lot of this stuff will assume or presume that you have basic algebra skills already, right, from your year 7 to 10 work, but I will be going through the areas where most students seem to struggle, and all the areas where if you were to be good at these areas or these specific parts of algebra, then it will set you up nicely to continue to do well in the 2-unit advanced course. So this isn't an exhaustive, this is everything you need to know about algebra, but rather it's kind of, well, let's work on some of these key skills so that you can continue to do well in the 2-unit advanced course. Because let me tell you, the 2-unit advanced course, when it comes to algebra, the better you are with algebra, the more fluent you are with algebra, the better your chances of doing well in the course will be. Okay, so let me go through what you need to know for this episode, which is multiplying pronumeral expressions. So in the last episode, we went through collecting like terms, which is all about addition and subtraction. This time, we're going to be talking about multiplying pronumeral expressions. Now, that also includes division as well, because division is just multiplication in disguise. It's multiplying by the reciprocal, okay? So division is another form of multiplication, so we will be going through division as well. But let's just get stuck into it, shall we? This should mostly be familiar to you from year 7 to 10 stuff, but x times x times x times x is, you got 4 x's. The answer is not 4x. The answer would be 4x if you were adding, but when you're multiplying, we write it differently. We write it as a power. So the answer would be x to the power of 4. Okay? X to the power of 4. Alright. So this is called a power, or another word for it is an indice, or an index. And we will be spending a whole nother chapter on indices, right? So a whole other course topic will be spent on this, so just know enough to get you through some of this stuff. In this situation, you've got x times x times x, which will be x to the power of a number, but you also got y and you also got 3 multiplied into the mix. In this situation, you always put the, well, not always, but you don't have to, but by convention, what we usually do is put the number first, all right? And then you've got 3 x's multiplied together, so it's x to the power of 3, and y will be y on its own, okay? So the answer would be 3x cubed y, okay? And that's the answer for this one. When it comes to doing something like this one, what we do, a on its own is like a to the power of 1. 4 times 2, right? We do that first, we multiply as usual. 4 times 2 is 8. And then you've got one of the a's here multiplied by 2 of the a's there. You don't multiply the tops, you add the tops together. So it's like a times a times a. So how many a's are we multiplying together? 3. That's why you add instead of multiplying the tops, okay? And then you've got a b there that needs to be multiplied out, so that stays as b as well, okay? Let me rub this out because that's kind of confusing now. Alright. So, applying the addition principle for indices and powers, we'll do the same thing here. These numbers here out the front are called coefficients. Coefficients can multiply together. So 3 times 2, alright, gives you 6. That's our new coefficient, okay? In terms of the x's, you got 2 x's there, 1 x there, so you got 3 x's. 1 y there, 3 y's there, so you got 4 y's. 3 z's there, so that's just 3 z's, right? Z to the power of 3. And then you've got a w there as well that needs to be multiplied into the mix, so w, okay? So that looks complex. If you're just able to follow what's going on, it's not really that complex, all right? It just requires you to be super meticulous in your mind to make sure you don't leave anything out, but it's not too bad, okay? Now, I've just added this one in because this time our coefficient is negative and this time our other coefficient is positive. Negative times positive is negative. So it's negative 20. X times x is x squared. Y squared, z to the power of 4. Have we left anything out? No. Okay. So that is how we do multiplication. Alright. Let's go over here. Alright. And let's do some division type questions. But before we do division, let me just quickly do a division question, which I see so many students get wrong that it really frustrates me and it irks me, and I don't want you to make this same mistake. Alright? So let me just put this up on the board. 8x divided by x is 8. This x cancels with that, that's 8, right? But what irks me is oftentimes I will put this 8x minus x, and people will give me, oh yeah, x minus x is 0, so you're left with the 8. That's wrong. No, 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 no. In this sort of situation, you've got 8x minus x, which is 7x, right? So it's like 8 xylophones minus 1 xylophone gives you 7 xylophones, okay? Alright, so let's do this question. Now, in this question, notice how we added the powers of x with x to get 2x squared. When you divide, you're doing the same thing, but you're minusing. Okay? So you got x squared here, minus, divided by x means that you subtract the powers. So, and that number there, the coefficient there is 1. 7 divided by 1 is 7. And you've got x to the power of 2 minus 1, which is 1. Y cubed minus y squared is 3 minus 2, which is just 1 as well. So it's 7x, y. And that's your answer for that one. Let's have a look at this one. You've got 9x squared y cubed over 3xy squared. And oftentimes when people see fractions, they freak out and go, I don't know what to do. You don't need to freak out, because really what's going on here is it's exactly the same as that question. A fraction is just a division question in disguise. Alright? So another way of writing this would be 9x squared y cubed divided by 3xy squared. Alright? Which is exactly the same question as what we've got here. Alright? So 9 divided by 3 is 3. X squared minus, or x, the squared minus the 1, right, when you're dividing, means that you've got x to the power of 1. Y cubed divided by y squared is just 3 minus 2, which is just y to the power of 1 as well. Does that make sense? And I'll just do the last question here. And the reason why I want to do the last question here is it'll become obvious. 8 divided by 2 is 4. A squared divided by a is a to the 2 minus 1, which is 1. And b divided by b squared, right, that's the power of 1, minus 2 is b to the power of negative 1. Okay? Now, another way of writing that and another way of working that out is to cancel. So you can cancel that a with that a. 2 and 8 become 4 and 1. 1b with 1b. And on the top you have this 4 times a, which is 4a. And on the bottom you have 1 and b, which is b. Now, what I want you to notice is that 4a b to the minus 1 is equal to 4a over b. They're the same answer. Alright? Now if you didn't get that, don't worry too much. Again, when I go through this episode on indices, when I do it later on indices, I will go through this in a whole lot more detail. But I'm just giving you enough so that you can do multiplication of algebraic expressions. Okay, so thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you on the next episode.